Hello everyone and welcome back to the second part tutorial of how to create a burning cigarette. So let me first open my latest file. Oh, okay, so this is where we've been at the end of the first part. Now I did it because I did it started with this thing because I wanted to uh, you know uh, just get rid of the artwork for now. And what I want to do right now is bring on uh, just let's assemble those into this layer, and that's good. And I'm gonna go over and turn this off, bring on the tobacco, and bring back the filter. So I'm gonna start with the filter. Shift right click, assign. Sorry, not shift right click, assign new material, mental ray, Maya material X. Okay, this will create this tab here. Switch to it and rename this to filter. Oh, sorry, I'm typing in Hebrew. Filter. Okay, and press enter. Now you want to click on this checkered box here next to the fuse color. Choose file. Click on this folder icon. I'm gonna navigate to this texture where it is. Sig. Click open. Now with that done, I'm gonna grab this, and you see that the texture UV map uh, doesn't really follow what we need. So you want to grab this, create UV's cylindrical mapping. And again, I'm going to click on this T, click on this bluish circle. Then I will have the gizmo, hold down the J key and rotate this to this direction. Okay, 90 degrees. Now, basically what I'm trying to do, and I already did this with the ashes, is just to make sure that this cylindrical shape here in the middle is just aligned with this cylinder. Okay, and I can uh, click on this T again. Oh, before that, I want to click on this cube here and then release and then grab it and start and stretch it and then bring it here to the middle and maybe a little bit to the right and stretch it more. Bring it here. Let's stretch it more. So it will fit to the filter. Okay, just like so. Now we're gonna grab this, press F8. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna undo that. And I only need to grab those and loop them all the way as I did earlier. So that's cool. I'm gonna press F8. I'm gonna right click, choose face, grab this face, create UV planar mapping. Now I'm gonna stretch this handles and those handles and click grab this and just position this so it will cover this with white and try and stretch it a little bit more so you will have only white here. Or maybe it's a little bit too stretching, so that's fine. Press F8 to bring it back to object mode, and that's cool. Now, this is the filter, right? You want to go over edit, delete by type, history, remove the history from this. So now we have only 4 tabs and we can access the filter to shader easily. You want to lower down the reflectivity all the way to 0 and glossiness as well. I'm not sure if it's a must, but let's just lower this down. Um, Maybe a little bit glossiness is not bad. Sometimes cigarettes can be a little bit have some reflections, not high reflections with glossiness or something. So I'm gonna grab this and that, first of all, you want to go right click, choose assign new material, again, mental ray, biomaterial X, switch to this tab, click on this checkered box next to diffuse color file, and we're going to load the same texture, this one. Click open and grab this, create UV, cylindrical mapping, click on this, hold down the J key, rotate it that way. Click on this cube there once, and then click, hold, and drag to stretch this. And we only need we only need the Marlboro, the white area to be on that part. Now, if you want, you can leave a little bit of brown there, but we want to have more of the burned area here. You see this burned area, like so. And you want to click on the T again and loop this all the way, so the Marlboro will be completed there. Okay, see, press F8 to bring it back to object mode, and if you like to see the Marlboro, add some rotation to this. Okay, now we can grab this and assign the tobacco. Now I don't want to do this because this will be a lit-on cigarette, so the only thing that I do suggest is that you will grab this, go over, extrude, tap on one of those cubes, extrude it that way, and go over mesh, edit mesh, poke. Okay, press F8 to bring it back to object mode. I need you to add a few edge loops. Shift right click, insert edge loop. Let's make sure it's resetted. I'm gonna add one edge loop very much here. This will maintain this area sharp whenever we will smooth preview it, and this one as well. I'm gonna do the same to this object. Press F8, make sure it's in object mode. Insert edge loop. Gonna add one edge. Well, I think that here I'm not really must do this though. Here I know for sure that I must do this. Well, sorry. Let's add here. I'm gonna grab this face here and make sure that I'm extruding it, following the same thing I already done. Well, I've done something wrong here for sure. And then edit mesh, poke. Let's right click, choose face, grab this. Well, you can press 5 if it's a little bit annoying to see the texture, because it can be very hard to understand what you're doing. I'm gonna grab all those in the middle here. Control to unselect whatever has been selected here, and shift with the same arrow that grow selection, and 6 to bring back the texture. Create UVs, planar mapping, and do this all over, because I'm always forgetting something on the way. Well, once again, okay, press F8. Now the Marlboro is a little bit, should be rotated so some of those lines will be aligned. Let's rotate this a little bit more. I'm holding now the J in order to snap this, but it's not really snapping that way, so just align them. And I'm gonna click IPR on this section. I want to render this to see if it looks okay. That's good. Okay. So my cat is now just woke up and she's trying to yell. I'm sorry about that. Now, after we're done with this and we added all those supporting edges, I want you to press 3, okay? And I want you to press 3 on this as well. And I want you to switch to this layer and bring on your ashes. And right click on the ashes layer, choose select objects and press 3 on all of them. So it will smooth them. Now everything right now is smoothed, but I just want to make sure that this is the case. I'm going to save this file saves in as, and call this 222. Okay, save as. And now I'm going to take a render and see how it looks. Let's render this, the entire shape. Okay, now the reason I'm rendering it is just to make sure that I don't see any peeking ashes from through this shape. So that's good. Now I'm gonna do something. Well, I just thought in mind to do something and I forgot about it. We're gonna open the window rendering editor hypershade. I'm gonna deal with a little bit of the hypershades, the shaders. So we have the filter shader, we have this ashes shader. I didn't rename this, so I'm gonna right click, choose rename this, and this will be filter ashes and tobacco. Okay, so this is the tobacco, this is the filter, this is the ashes. Now for the tobacco, I'm gonna open the attribute editor, or Control A to open this attribute editor while it's selected. And I'm going to change the reflectivity to 0, and I'm going to change the glossiness to very low glossiness, and I'm going to change, well, you know what, lower this all the way. You want to put in the transparency 0.150, okay, for the tobacco shader. Now you want to do the same for the ashes, okay, but right now, before that, I'm going to change, this is the refraction transparency, 0.150. I don't want to have any glossiness on this, and that way, okay? The samples also down. And for the filter, I want to have a glossiness of like that, as I already, yeah, transparency we don't need. And I want the hashes to be not reflective at all. The glossiness all the way turned down, like so. And you want to have a 150, 0.150 transparency to it. Glossiness, you want to break this all the way down, and this one as well. Now I'm going to take a render just to see what's up with that. So you can turn this here, this little guy here. It will show you what the camera sees. So whatever contained in this frame, this is what it will be rendered out. And you want to click here, render. Now, seen me applying a little bit of transparency. I didn't check this, but as you can see, the cigarette is not transparent at all. But it might be that it's enough transparent for what we're going to do next. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to position my camera. You know what? I'm going to change to 4 view, and to this view, which I can see the cigarette that way. Right now, it's the side view. So I'm going to go over shading, X-ray, and I want to obtain the filter. This is the filter, that's good. I'm going to go over create. Well, before that, I want to set this to, let's say, 500 and hit the enter, okay? The left column, not the right, the left. you type in 500 in this left one. That means that it will add another 400 frames to this animation session. So I'm gonna create Civic Curve tool. You wanna click here at the very beginning of this, and you wanna turn on snap to grid feature, this one, click on it. And now just see each grid here, each gray line, it will snap this if I will click next to it. Okay, click, click, click. This is where the filter ends. This is start. This is where I want to have my line to be until there. I'm going to apply the wireframe on shaded so you can see it, and then I will continue and create my line here. Okay, here, well, let's set it here and that's it. Well, maybe here it's fine enough. Press enter to create this line. I'm gonna switch to shading. Let's turn off the wireframe here so you can see the line. See, it's passing through. And if I will switch here, you can see it's passing exactly in the middle, in the center of this cigarette. Let's turn on the X-ray so you can see it. See? It's there. That's all good. Now, I'm gonna turn off this frame so it won't bother me, and I'm gonna close this one. And you wanna go over create light. You wanna create an volume light. Okay, this is the volume light. You wanna bring this volume light with the move tool, but first turn off the snap to grid feature, and you will be able to pull this all over here. Sorry. And I'm gonna take a look at the attribute editor for this, and as you can see, light shape is sphere. Okay, this is good. We can use this. So I'm gonna keep this sphere, but I want to make it larger, like that. I want to squeeze this like that. Okay, and I also this is also experimental, but you will see it should help on something here. I'm gonna go over a light effect and apply the light glow. Okay, click on this. It will pop out this new 2 tabs. So you see this is the glow sample. This is very nice. You want to set this to I don't know, ball or lens or rim, or I don't know, try something. You can also leave it linear. And you want to add, well, star point glow attributes. You want to add glow intensity of 4, I think, should be good. You can add more, 5. Glow spread, let's say 3 or 2 will be enough. You see the glow star level, you don't want to have a star, so if you will reduce this, the star will go away. It will simply add this nice light here. And glow opacity, I don't know what that means. Well, I know, but leave it alone. Now you want to change the glow color. You want to set it as it is. Click here once, scroll up to the color, and you want to change the color into, now it's the light color, so you want to change it to something like that, and make sure that you set those to be bright, like so, and that's good. Now, right now it's sphere, but you can change it even to cylinder, and it can be good enough. Now you need to make sure that the light is bigger than the cigarette. It should be bigger. And I'm gonna open the outliner, and I'm selecting the curve that I created earlier, shift selecting the volume light. Okay. Now what will happen is that if I go over general and animation and click on this little guy here, I'm just hovering my mouse so you can see what it says, attached to motion path. If you will click this, what will happen is that our light will turned that way. Now if it happens to you, don't worry, we will fix this in a second, but I also want you to be aware that right now, near to the end of this curve, there is a number 500. This is representing the frames that we have. So the animation length is set on this curve. Okay, so from 0 to 500, this will be how this light will travel. Okay, so you want to grab the light and you want to go over volume shape, and let's see, volume light here, volume shape, motion path. Okay, motion path. You want to change the front axis to Y, and you want to change the up axis to X or Z or X, or do something. Okay, Z and Z, whatever, as long that it will go as it's been when we started. Okay, so it's much more easier to do this with the cylindrical shape, so you can see that cylinder is aligned like with the cigarette. So just play with them until you get this kind of look. Now I'm gonna scroll, and you can see that it's starting to travel. Okay, now I'm gonna put this somewhere here, and I just want to take a first render of this. Probably we won't see nothing, so let's click on the IPR. You know what? First of all, whenever you use IPR, it's really important for you to understand that it can crash Maya. So I'm gonna save this file. File, save scene, on top of the same file that I already created, so I won't lose any of my work. Now I'm gonna click IPR, and I see the entire shape. I just want to render this region. Click, hold, and mark we select this region, and you can wait a few seconds and let it render. All right, so right now we don't see nothing, and the reason for this is because we don't have any intensity. I'm gonna crank this up to 500, and this will be the color, and you can see this is how it looks. Right now that's good because we can only see the light here inside our cigarette. Okay, so you want to close this. You want to go over create light, area light, and the area light, I'm gonna pull this out, and this pointy thing, it's the direction of the light, so we need to direct it to there. If you press T on your keyboard, the letter T, like tractor, it will create this new handle here that you can point to the cigarette, and the light will go according to this, just aiming to the cigarette, right? And now you can also bring the light up, and it will still remain aimed to the cigarette. You want to scale this up a little bit, just like so. Relatively to the cigarette, you can see how much it is, so be sure that it's somewhat like that. And you want to move it backwards, press T and aim it backwards, because for some reason it's just went off from there. Okay, making sure it's aimed to the cigarette, and well, let's say center or something. And you want to set the intensity. Well, first of all, you want to change the decay rate to quadratic and change the intensity to 600. Okay, now I'm going to take a first render for this and see what it shows me. Again, let's see the frame. Just want to see the cigarette, and let's render this. Okay, this is really washed out. Let's see what I've done here. Let's click the mental rays, use light shape. Oh, I didn't change this to quadratic, sorry. So now quadratic and 600, and that could be good. So let's render this again. Okay, now you can see the ashes down here. I don't like this, see? So the light is also washing out a lot. So I'm gonna bring it over here. And Control D to duplicate the light and move this here to this direction. It's still aimed. It's using the aim of this. I'm gonna lower this down a little bit. And Control D again, move this upwards and set this a little bit up. Okay, like so. Now I may need to reduce the intensity, but let's see. I'm gonna grab all of them. Press 3 to smooth this. Maybe something haven't been smoothed again, or I don't know what. And I'm gonna take another render. Well, I can still see the ashes. It's really weird, because for the entire shape it really doesn't, it's really not showing this, but I'm okay with that. We can fix those problems. I'm gonna open the this channel box, right click on the ashes, select objects, okay, and I'm gonna simply well, I will try to do something such as this. You want to combine them, okay, before, okay, and you want to scale them all at once, just a little bit, okay, just a little bit. Don't do any hard scaling there. And then you want to separate them. So edit mesh, separate, and want to go over edit delete by type history, and you want to ungroup this. So this group again, let's ungroup this. Okay, so now well, that's okay, they are there. Why this is selected, I don't know. Let's grab the ashes, select. Well, the ashes parts are not part of the ashes there anymore. So this one and those, add selected objects, okay? Now, you may want to stretch those vertices of the ashes here and those backwards. But right now, don't be concerned about this. We're gonna do something. We're gonna do another render just to see how it's performing. Okay, that's even worse. I forgot to smooth preview this. I'm gonna press escape. I'm gonna file save scene as. I'm gonna save it as 2.3 because This is how I want this to be. And let's press 3. Okay, so now they are smoothed, and if I will render this, no problem. All right, let it render. Okay, now I'm gonna save this, and you can see we are at frame 99. This is why the light is here, and we want this to be back on the first one. Now, for the first one, we need to take a render. So I'm gonna check an IPR render just for this area. I want to see where the light is. All right. So that's not bad. That's okay. Just shut off the render in midway. Don't do this, never. I'm gonna bring this here. Well, not the light, but the curve vertice. So you want to choose the curve, right click, control vertice, and you want to grab this first vertex and pull this inside. And take another IPR render and see how it looks. All right, that's nice. Now you want to click here and close this. Well, let's save this as well. And now I moved the vertex, so that means that I didn't do anything to the light. The curse of this light will remain this curve with the length that we just reduced, okay, from the start point. So now it will start traveling from that point and on, okay? Now, while it's traveling, what you want to do is you want to go and check where it starts traveling and where it ends, like here in this section where the light meets this last point of our chunk. Okay, this is still a chunk, and this one is the spur area that we didn't separate into chunks. So I'm gonna just simply take a render here and see where this is, where the light is striking here. So IPR render this area, let it render. All right, so that's good. I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna let it move a little bit more here. It's just to the left of the last chunk. I just want to see where it hits. So again, IPR render this area. Okay, so at frame 277, the cover that covering all this part of the ashes is going to be here, a little bit to the right of the light, okay, where the last chunk meets the spur chunk, and we want to be on the tobacco one. Select this object, and you want to right click, choose vertices. You want to grab those. Well, you want to right click, choose vertices, but you want to press 1 in order to this. See, this edge is the supporting edge. We want to move this back. It will by exiting smooth preview. and you want to grab those two, we have like two sets of edges here and those here. So we want to move them over here, okay, and take a render first, IPR render, and see that they are just a little bit before the light, okay, from the right side of the light. That looks good. That looks very, very good. So what we can do here is close this. Okay, and set the 277 frame for those vertices to be at 277. Okay, I'm gonna press S right now. If I press S, it will keyframe this, so you will see a red mark here. I pressed S, see a red mark. Now I'm gonna switch to 0, okay, to frame 1 here. Click on frame 1, or just rewind this using this arrow, and move those over here back to the start point. Hold down the V key and snap them to here, okay, that way, and press S again. So now this thing will continue and move according to here. You just see this, it will move, those vertices will move alongside to the light. So see, now this is the problem when the cigarette is just going too fast to this. Now the reason for this is very easy to explain. Those vertices will travel halfway, but the curve is a very long one, so we need to reduce the curve as well. So let's isolate the curve, okay, and right click, choose control vertices, and we're going to grab all those vertices here and simply start reduce them. Doesn't matter how many vertices we have there. I just try to, it's even enough to have 3. Basically you need 3 vertices, or actually 3 points to you know, to set a civic curve tool. So I'm going to unisolate this, and I want the 500 to be exactly at this point. So let's grab this one. Well, you can't really see what I'm doing, but let's say that this is the grid line. So we will rely on this grid line here, and I'm going to isolate this again. And I need the 500 to be on this grid line. And this vertex, go back here. Let's press F8. Let's unisolate this, and let's see how it will perform now. So back to frame 1. Let's turn off the X-ray so we can see things better that way. We can see it that way. Sometimes the ash is speaking out, but it doesn't really affect the render. So let's travel. Still moving very fast to the light, because we still have this thing going on here. So let's set those vertices, delete them. I'm gonna set a curve here. Right click, choose control vertices. Let's delete those vertices. Shift right click. Well, control right click. And delete, and that's it. Grab this one, move it over here, and let's see how it will perform now.
Well, it doesn't go the same way, and this is because I needed to somehow. Maybe I will delete the last one, but I'm not sure if it will react to this. So let's delete. This is the only one that I can really delete. No, I can't delete these either. I need 4 of them. Let's try to delete this one. No, we will need to keep those. I'm a little bit clueless on how it should be. Well, maybe if I'll set this to 277, because the length of the frames is 500, right? And the length of the curve is 500. I need to set this to 277. So I may be able to change this motion path. There it is. There is something here that can control these. Let's see, curve, components, curve, motion path. Well, I'm not sure where it is. Twist, vector, follow, curve. I think if you select this 500 point, edit point, should be a way to control this. Let's press F8. Let's see. Spans 1, open. I remember that there was a way to set this time 1. This is the position marker. Modify center to pivot for it. I have no idea why I got into this. Let's edit curve. Curve fillet, extend, offset. Add point, move seam, no. Let's see what there. No. Long time ago, there was a way to do this. This time, we do not. I have no idea why. Oh, here you are. Motion path. You can set this to 277. Thank you. And it's not really performing. I wonder why. Let's see. Maybe it will perform well. Let's isolate this. And you see, now it's following the same thing. So, well, sorry about all this, delays. Sometimes my head is not working correctly as well as my memory. So if I go that way, and I will take a render, I can safely be sure that whatever happens here should happen at the same time. And yeah, you can see it's 277 right now, so it did update it. Okay, that's cool. That's very cool. Thank you. I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna save this file save thing. And one last thing, let's try do something. Okay, I'm gonna go over open window hypershade, which is already open here. I'm gonna take the ashes and you can go over bump and overall bump, I think, or the standard bump, and click on this checkered box, choose a file. Click on this file tab, click on this icon, and set the ashes to be, again, the bump map for it. Okay, click open, and let's close this. Now, if I open this, you can see how it looks, right? I'm gonna save this picture as compare this, and let's take another IPR render and see how the ashes will look like now. To look a little bit more dense, and that's good for me, but the light is just performing a little bit bad than it was. But at the overall, I think it looks fairly nice, and I can maybe lower up the glowing of the light. So I'm gonna keep this, and just so we can compare this to each other. So you see it looks much more dense here, but it also looks realistic here. So I don't know, you need to choose and see what looks best for you. We can always grab the light and add a little bit more intensity to it, like 550, and maybe the glowing effect here. You can, I don't know, change to ball, and let's see, maybe we'll take another IPR render here. The thing is that right now the light is still like glowing from the inside, okay, of the cigarette. So it's passing through the dense ashes, and then it gives you this kind of look. So you need to take this in mind and remember that this is how it will look from now on. Now, right now, I think I'm gonna wrap this part because there is a little more thing. Maybe, you know what, let's just talk about this and see. I also want to get this burning here to be seen, and the reason is just to see, you know, some burning on the paper of this cigarette. So basically our light is just a little bit at the same point where it is right now, and maybe it's better if I will add just a little bit few frames to this motion path. So I'm gonna click on this curve and click here on this top one, maybe here. Well, no, here, yeah. And maybe I will set this to 300, and that's all. And I will check now how it's performing. Well, let's first, yeah, rewind this, play. let's stop this somewhere here and see right now how it's rendered out. My CPU is running like hell. Alright, that's much better. So you see now we can see this burning area of the paper and it's still lit up. So I guess that's good. Alright. I'm still yet not quite sure about making this bump, but let's see, maybe I will bring this bump off, or rendering editor, hypershade. Let's right click here and break the connection. And now I will create another IPR. If it doesn't start rendering, you can right click and choose rendering and render region. Like that, render and render region. Okay. So that looks nice. That looks good. Anyway, this is it for this part. File save scene. And we're going to continue the next part by shrinking those little chunks and making them look like they are, I don't know, shrinking. So thank you for watching. Sorry for all the delays and stuff that I need to think about sometimes. I hope that this really helped you and that you satisfy with those results that right now we see. And we shall continue the next part. Again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share the videos, and also visit my fan page so you can stay updated with any new parts or tutorials that are releasing. Thank you again. Have a good day. Bye bye.